Greetings, family. Welcome back to my channel. I have some news coming to you from America once again. Apparently, Jimmy Kimmel has had his show canceled by ABC. This is all stemming from some comments that he made about the Charlie Kirk shooting. I saw some clips of what he said, and it didn't really sound incendiary. What he really said was that the Republican Party was trying to distance themselves from the shooter of Charlie Kirk, which is Tyler Robinson, I believe. And he's basically said that they were trying everything they could to paint Tyler as anything but a Republican, right? Apparently, this statement was viewed as being incendiary against the backdrop of all of the Charlie Kirk outrage, right? And I'll be the first person to admit that I don't always agree with Jimmy Kimmel. I'm pretty sure there are some videos that I hated in the past. I'm pretty sure I've left a few bad comments on his videos, but I've also left some good comments on his videos. Some of the humor was appreciated over the years. I've been watching his show since his hair was all black. It's now salt and pepper, so that's been quite a few years. And many persons are speculating if this is a witch hunt in the media for anybody that's been critical of the President of the United States. Recently, even the likes of Stephen Colbert was given his walking papers. Stephen Colbert hasn't been fired immediately, but he has been given notice that his show will basically be canceled at the end of his season. Right? These are two prominent figures in the media. They also happen to be critical of Donald Trump and various things that he's said, various things that he's done. They do it with humor, and so I guess it's not appreciated by everybody. Sometimes people have a different opinion about various humorous takes, critical takes of the news. But it seems to me that these individuals have been targeted because of their left-leaning opinions. These are two very influential individuals. During the election cycles, people always look to them for their opinions. And it can be said that they have an impact on the electorate. From what I've seen, their shows crystallize some ideas that are in the public space, and they tend to hone in on various important points that are taking place or that are relevant to the political discourse. I kind of measure the significance of these individuals by how they treat minority issues, right? And so I looked back at Jimmy Kimmel's take on George Floyd as my metric, and I was kind of humbled by the comments that he made about the George Floyd situation. He gave a fair and balanced take, and he actually played a video of a Black American person that was basically trying to assuage the fears of the public. This person was actually saying that, what he basically did was he highlighted some of his likes, some of his dislikes, and I guess this was in the interest of making himself seem more relatable, more understandable to the American public. And at the end of the video, he basically said that, persons need to consider all of his similarities to them before they call the police. And this was against the backdrop of several police shootings of black unarmed individuals. And so I thought Jimmy Kimmel, in that case, he gave a very fair and balanced take, and he actually highlighted the salient points. The fact that these were individuals that were the victims of police violence, and that the violence against them precipitated marches, rallies, looting, um, and basically a lot of protests. And so, what I would like to say, I think, having considered all of the facts, I think Jimmy Kimmel was unfairly terminated. It was actually an immediate termination. They said it's an indefinite cancellation, I believe. Stephen Colbert, as well, another person that I watch almost religiously, has been given his walking papers. He has a few more months left on his contract. But what I would like to say is that the media is a space that is mostly for the entertainment of the public, for the edification of the public about various topical issues, various informative articles that are discussed, etc. I don't think he said anything that was particularly incendiary or disparaging about the Republican Party or about Charlie Kirk himself. What he did was basically give an opinion about whether or not the Republican Party was trying to portray him in a way that is uh, harmful to the Democratic Party. Okay, and so, family, let's all give our thoughts and prayers to Jimmy Kimmel and his family, to Jimmy Kimmel and his staff who are now looking for another job. I'm not going to say anything disparaging, even though I'm sure there were a few things I disagreed with him about. I'm not going to say anything disparaging. I hope that this is not um, for an extended period of time. Hopefully, they can come to terms that will allow him to maybe make an apology or at least add some context to the statements that he made. I don't think, from the standpoint of an American voter, I don't think this was very fair because it seems to me that the talking heads or the political pundits from the Democratic Party will benefit from this loss of these various important figures in the media. After the death of Charlie Kirk, there's been a lot of political polarization, and now there are even threats about the removing of visas from individuals that have been celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Personally, I think it's unfair to castigate persons for criticizing a person who has said some very um, divisive things. He said some divisive things over the years, and it seems like every other day I'm being introduced to more footage of him saying some things that might rub people the wrong way, especially persons in the African American community. And so, in my opinion, this seems to be political persecution. Even now, persons of other countries are being victimized because of the Charlie Kirk shooting. If you come from another country outside of America and you say something that is critical of Charlie Kirk, um, the government of the day is basically saying that they will not grant you a visa. They will not allow you to maintain a visa if you already have one based on comments that you make. right? I think that is particularly unfair because every human being is entitled to an opinion, whether or not it may be supportive of your leaning or not. I think everybody should have the inalienable right to express themselves without being persecuted. That is the essence of free speech. And so even now in my country, persons are afraid to even share the memes. People are afraid to comment under these various posts because of the fear that they will not be granted a visa. They won't be able to enter the United States for any reason. Okay, so I want everyone to take this into consideration. Hopefully, cooler heads will prevail and there will be a more relaxed position from the current regime in America. Okay, so let's all hope that Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, they can rebound from this, possibly go to another network, possibly have um, a new installment of their shows in another capacity. But if not, they've all did their service to society. They've all made their voices heard. They've been like an echo chamber for the masses so that you can hear what the people actually think about these various issues. But I just want everybody to give me your thoughts about this. Do you agree with this decision to cancel him or to cancel both of them for their opinions? I think personally, I believe that if you're a leader, you should accept that there will be dissenting views um, in any matter that is being discussed. Nobody is going to take the same opinion or the same approach to an issue that you might take. And I think the measure of good leadership is the ability to hear all sides of an issue and still make your decision despite whatever the divide may be, still make your choices irrespective of these dissenting views. I think that is something that America has always been promoted as being, a place where there's free expression, there's no political persecution for your views. America has actually intervened in countries and their affairs whenever it seems like the people are not able to express themselves or people are being unfairly persecuted. So this seems to be a very un-American state of affairs that is now developing in America. Okay, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below about all these dynamics. One love.